So this is a Fog Whisperer leaving the Fog Whisperer program, which I guess is rarer. Like usually it's people saying they're just leaving the game, right? But this is someone actually leaving the program, which might actually be a first. I'm not sure. But let's see. I don't know anything what he's going to say, but people said I should check it.
So I don't even know how to start off this video. So I'm just gonna say a TLDR for those of you that don't want to listen to me talk for the next, like, I don't know, 20-25 minutes about this. But I am leaving the Fog Whisperer program. And to start off, this is like not a decision that I'd made like overnight, you know, or I had a bad week of playing Dead by Daylight or something like that. This is a decision that I have come to make after thinking about it for like months. And it's very heartbreaking for me because
louder. Why is everything so quiet?
26 sex months.
Let's try there. Tell me how this is.
Because this game has provided so much for me, you know.
Braz, thinking the 28
I'm able to make content for a living with this game. I have been able to build an amazing community who I love dearly. I've been able to meet some incredible people throughout my journey and do some incredible things that I never thought I'd be able to do.
DVD has met a lot of content creators.
I'd be able to meet. This game, I even met my partner because of this game. We've been together now for like 3 years. So a lot of great things have come from this game, and I'm really sad that the chapter of my life is coming to a close. But the show must go on, as they say. But the reasons why I'm deciding to leave the Fog Whisperer program and ultimately DBD as well boils down to like a lot of factors, right? But the major one, first and foremost, is that I am burnt out, and
question is, will he keep
off DBD? I've been playing non-stop for the last 4 years on my channel to build a platform, to build a career that I have. But I come to the point that I just honestly can't do it anymore, no matter how hard I try to push myself. I also feel like my creativity is being sucked
it's just another streamer from DVD
content for this game, because for the last 3 years, man, I was having so much fun making content for this game and doing the things that I was doing and pumping out the content I was pumping. I was proud of it and I was excited to do it, but it's come to the point that like I barely post TikToks.
All of his music's copyright
my YouTube
behind.
channel is pretty much dead, right? Because it's so hard for me to do something exciting, something fun with this game, because that's not the direction the game is going in, which is like not necessarily a bad thing, mind you. Competitiveness in a PvP player versus player game is not a bad thing at all.
The balance
is, for me, it wasn't what I really signed up for when I first got into this game. So I can't do my Mimi BS anymore because the game is going in a more competitive route, which is fine.
You can just move.
Our system worked well, right? But it doesn't, because they think that escapes are wins and they think that kills are wins, and nothing that happens to get there matters. It doesn't make any sense to me. I also feel that
okay, so it does make sense in the sense of you will get the better players at the top, because more consistent escapes and more consistent kills will get you to the top. What doesn't make sense is balancing around it, because it doesn't tell you what happened in the game. So it does make sense in you know, it is going to push the better players to the top. It will happen. And you could say, you know, what about that person who hides all game? They won't consistently escape because they're not doing enough for the team. So it does make sense in that, but it doesn't make sense in the balance. That's where the issue is. You can't balance off it.
Impact that you could have as a Fog Whisperer is like non-existent. It doesn't matter how much time I put into a review of.
Sad to hear that. When I was a Fog Whisperer, I felt the exact same thing.
A PTB, or how much of a Word document I put together to give my opinions about certain changes. I feel like it's always just overlooked and not implemented in any way, shape, and form.
I wanted to actually chat to the devs. Like, I wanted to chat to them so we could have like an actual little conversation. Didn't need to be like fucking hours. It could literally be like a minute or 2 minutes, but just chat and say some things. But I don't know. They never seem to care.
And for like, if they don't listen
never
to someone
to.
like Otsdarva, right, who could give you the numerical breakdown of every single perk and add-on in this game, why would they even think about listening to me?
Just completely
for the rest of this video, I'm just gonna go into way more detail about the reasonings why, but if you want a TLDR, there it is. But if you stick through it, bear with me as I get through the process. Like, I'm just doing this like no script and stuff like that, so excuse me if my thoughts are all over the place, but I'm gonna try my best to be concise and stuff. And for people, for example, when Slushy made her taking a break from DBD video, I saw a lot of comments under the video saying stuff like, oh, you're just copying like Dowsy, or you're just doing this for clout, yada yada yada. I just want to let you guys know that doing this is like 90% certain that it's a death sentence for my content and my channel. And other content creators who are taking the leap to try to do.
People have only, like, the content creators who have only been known from DBD. I bet it is a scary place. because they seem to only watch DBD, right? Like a lot of people who go off it and try anything else, they just like I remember even Noob, like back in the day when he played DBD, he had like loads of viewers, but when he jumped on something else, it was kind of crazy, and he was like really big.
Change their content and do something else.
So smaller ones,
they are risking their entire channel and possibly livelihood to make this.
Yeah.
Change,
they are
so
potentially risking livelihood. It is kind of interesting that relationship some people have with DBD where they can't get off it because it will risk their livelihood, right? It is an interesting position. I wonder how many content creators are in that position where they completely risk their livelihood. It's not something that's done
for clout or for attention, because I could do other things for that, right? I'm just giving this video out because I know people are going to ask me this question, and I don't want to have to repeat myself constantly. So now this video is going to be out there, and if people want to know why I left the program, they could just come here and watch the video. Before I dive into the
I don't think I'm in that
video,
position.
I want to talk more about the positive side of the video.
Like I jumped on the No Rest for the Wicked, and we had like 1,000 of you in here. Like you can have full-time, you can be a full-time streamer on 1,000 viewers easily. So no, I won't risk my livelihood. And also, usually when I do jump on a game and I continue to play and play and play, we usually do build an audience. It's just there's no game that I really can like. I feel like jumping on at the moment. But I'm talking about these people who, when they play DBD, they're at like 200, 300 viewers or whatever. That potentially could go down to like 10, 20 viewers. When you go to like 10, 20 viewers, 30 viewers, maybe less than 100 or whatever, then doing it as a livelihood thing is kind of, it's getting a bit questionable.
I love about being a Fog Whisperer and why I wanted to be part of that program for so long. The Fog Whisperer program opened a lot of doors for me in terms of getting to meet content creators that I looked up to for a very long time, right? Content creators like Milady Confetti, Critical Bard, Oh Tofu, Ots Darva, Toki, Granny. I was able to be in a space with them and able to do events and participate in stuff with them, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, any job's kind of scary for sure.
For a very long time, some of them even before I started streaming. I also got to meet some incredible people that work for behavior that really have affected my life in a very positive way. People like May and Sophie, who always look out for me and is always trying to include me in the things that they are doing, or Stephanie and Leisha, who have brought amazing content with either cosmetics or quality of light changes to the game.
They won't mention me. I'm literally
be surrounded by people who I find to be incredible.
I'm like the invisible man in the DVD
community. In events such as Into the Rainbow.
Seriously, do that as like an almost challenge. Like, don't see who's like going to mention me or show me anywhere, etc. See who isn't. Actually, no. See if you can find someone who does. That's what I should say. See if you can find someone who does.
Or Black History Month events where we raise money for really good causes.
With sheeple, man. It's very sheep-like to just not mention me at all.
And I was able to showcase my skills that I built up in Dead by Daylight, specifically with Death Singer, and because of it, my gameplay has been
and the main villain of the community
that I really admire, and
for some reason
that are famous and I love, like Trixie Mattel commented on my gameplay, and I've been able to kind of get that kind of exposure, even though not a lot has really come from that. It's really cool to see when people are very like amazed by
some of these streamers who won't mention my name. I bet they do watch my content as well. I won't be surprised.
We're very entertained by how I played and my personality. It was also really cool though when I got into the Fog Whisperer program,
because some of them really seem to know my opinions on some things, or you know, they seem to know. Like I've had like back in the day, I had some streamers who like clipped literally like 10-20 seconds of my 8-hour stream. Like what?
Many of the other content creators and viewers that knew me,
it's a weird
that were
one.
Excited for me, that were cheering me on, that were thinking that I was deserving and I should be there. And I'm just really grateful for the experiences that were positive that I had with the program. And I'm really grateful that I even had the opportunity.
The streamers I made fun of my towel all the time. Yeah, exactly, right.
But that doesn't mean that everything was like smooth sailing and not everything was something that I fully agreed with. One of the biggest factors for me to leave this program is that I feel that my impact as a Fog Whisperer is non-existent. And I'm sure a lot of the other Fog Whisperers do as well. I feel like I could sit.
It's basically just shilling the game, being a Fog Whisperer, sadly.
Here and write a freaking book on
Once
things that I would
once
like
I
to see
realized that,
change
it was
in
kind
Dead
of
by
good
Daylight,
that I got
and
kicked. So the
nothing
reason I
will
got
be
kicked was
implemented
complete
whatsoever.
bullshit. But
A
you
prime
know,
example of this that just happened
they
recently
weren't
is the
all
most
bad
recent
from it, I guess,
PTB,
in that way.
with the twin buffs or rework that came.
Right.
We have been waiting for this twin rework for the last 2 years. And then we finally get this PTB for the twins rework, and we're all so excited to see what they're doing with twins to change them to make them more fun and more accessible to a lot of people. Instead, we
People
get
always
a character that
reference me without mentioning my name.
stronger
Yeah,
than a
they're
nurse.
fucking
That
snakes,
is
aren't they?
the most bonkers thing to say out loud, because nurse is the most broken thing in this game, and they somehow made a killer way more broken than she is. And then instead of like asking opinions from the community or fog whisperers about these changes, they spent all that time, energy, and money to do this change, only to revert all of it. You know, even if they were to reach out and ask,
nearly
opinions,
reverted,
like for me,
yeah.
I'm not a twins,
But twins is really stupid right now. Like they're even stronger than they were.
player. I don't
They're probably
play
gonna be doing
twins. I
something
don't really
else.
know what they could do to change it, but we have someone like Linksy in the community who is a diehard twins fan, right? Build their entire platform off being the twins main and is
Went against
incredible
Linksy.
at it, and has given so many amazing
Close
like
game.
thought pieces on like what they can do to make twins
I had a
more
really good
fun
solo
to play,
team.
stronger to play, and more accessible for others to play. But I don't even think they even looked at that. And it's not they don't know who Linksy is, right? Linksy is a very well-known member of the community, and all the fog whisperers praise her constantly, and I'm one of them. But instead they decided to go in a direction like this with the twins. Didn't work out, and now we're getting—
Dude, I was here before fucking most of these fucking content creators. Like, I was literally here day one in the beta, talking to the devs, playing with the devs. New killers came out. The devs would literally play matches with me as a show match to show people. And now they're just completely... Like, it's fake as fuck a lot, like, all of it.
That's just like a reverted change with a
Fake as
couple
fuck.
quality of life changes to twins, which blows my mind like so much. Or even changes when it comes to like balancing other things, right? Like another example is going to be Garden of Joy. Garden of Joy is an insufferable map for killers, right? Even for survivors it can be at times because it's so massive. But that main building is like the worst.
It's that thing with me, you know? Like, I swear to God, like, have you heard that saying, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself as a villain? I feel that's kind of happened with EBD. Like, because I've been on this game so long and I haven't died, you know, I haven't gone away or whatever. Now I'm the villain. It's very interesting how it's kind of followed that, you know.
It almost feels like old Haddonfield with all those windows in that main
I'm
building.
apparently a
And
villain,
they
yeah, I don't know
addressed
how.
it, saying that they were going to balance it to not make it as strong as it is. And what they did was add like a breakable wall.
They won't know why. It'll be hearsay and stuff like that. They won't actually know why they think that. They'll say some weird shit.
In there, which is like so silly that was their fix.
I'm your
for it,
hero,
because when
thank
run
you.
around that house, there's still 6 god windows
I appreciate
that
you
survivors
guys.
can loop like endlessly depending on the killer they're versing, and it's just so infuriating because they could have just asked for this kind of feedback and we would have told them that was not a good change, but instead it was just something that went through and we have to say what around that house there's there, which is like so and what they did was add like a breakable wall to not make it as close in that main building world. It's massive, but that main building is like, even for survivors it can be at times because it's so massive, but that main building, right? Like another example is going to be Garden of Joy.
Garden of Joy, okay.
Was
Yeah.
their like
Trash
endlessly
perk.
depending on the killer they're versing.
Trash
and it's just so infuriating because
change.
they could have just asked for this kind of feedback and we would have told them that was not a good change, but instead it was just something that went through and we have to sit there and be like, it is what it is, you know.
I appreciate it.
Or Borgo, of all things. There's not even much to say there. At the moment that map went on PTB, beautiful design, awesome. Why gotta be so red, dog? Why gotta be so red? And we've been saying this since it's been on the PTB and before it was released, that this is like not good. And it's still there, it's still red. I guess a little bit more balanced, but it doesn't matter how balanced it is if I can't see anything. You know what I mean? Because then it feels like to me at the end of the day that I am somebody who's kind of like a show pony, if that makes sense. Pride or Black History Month, or there's events come around and they invite me to do it, and I go and I have a lot of fun and I get to meet some new people and I get to get a couple new followers, and that's awesome. But the moment those events are gone for the rest of the year, I'm like there's nothing happening. Like, what am I to the Fog Whisper program? Some people always come into my channel and ask me, what do you do as a Fog Whisper? Or what does that mean? And I sometimes don't even know how to answer it, right?
You just say you shill the game.
For me, how it's been is that every time there's an event, I get invited to it and I do.
Like, you shill the game, and the devs give you some exposure to potentially help you further your career. That's basically it.
But aside from that, I have no other impact on it whatsoever. And then to add more on how I have no impact is that when I became a Fog Whisperer, man, I had a different idea of what it was gonna be, right? I thought that one, I was gonna be able to be like a voice for people that needed it, or like someone in the community who could like share opinions from other people and get that like kind of exposure for them with behavior. And then I also thought it was something that was going to help out my channel in the long run, right? Obviously,
Definitely that.
I thought like my Twitch
I
channel,
didn't know. I didn't. I already have like was, you know, solid viewer base, or what you want to say. It feels weird still saying that, but I was in a solid place. I fucking did it because I wanted to help the game be the best it could be. But yeah, there will be fuckloads of Fog Whisperers who literally are doing it because they want personal gain from it, 100%. And I think the devs know that, and that's why they can use them to shill the game to then give them something small back, right?
To my TikTok was gonna do a lot better.
It's a bit of a toxic relationship.
But that wasn't like the case at all. You know what I mean? Because in the community, I'm hated by both sides, right? We have the people that hate Fog Whispers no matter what, and we're just shills who never talk bad about the game, and we're just there to get our money from behavior, even though
I don't hate Fog Whisperers, by the way, but they are designed to shill the game.
paid for this shit.
That doesn't mean,
you know? And then I have the other side of the community who actually likes Fog Whisper.
I don't really hate anyone, as I said before.
But because I'm not
too strong of an
Otzarva or
emotion.
Spooky Loops or Otofu, they don't give a shit about me. Right, I go on some events and people are like, "Who is that? Bring Otzarva instead." So it's not like I'm getting
Popularity
any kind
contest.
of positivity from it in a sense. Instead, I'm just getting a lot of hate, a lot of death threats, a lot of people emailing me saying some really messed up, like, racist and homophobic stuff. You know, people
They're
bringing
so
up like
fucking
my
stupid.
parents who passed away a couple years ago in emails. Like, there's no real
I
positive.
told you, man, these fucking miserable bastards. Like, they just want to bring everyone down. It's so weird.
Coming from it and no real benefit coming from it. I'm here. I can't really give opinions for something. I can't make meaningful changes for something, but I'm getting a lot of hate.
People around
And
DVD
that's
have
cool,
massive
you know?
obsessed with arts.
And if I could at least make something positive out of it, right?
It is,
if I could
it
at
is an
least help
interesting
out
phenomenon.
people that deserve attention and help, that would be cool. Because man, I've been getting hate since the day I was born, right? This ain't nothing new to me. People have been talking smack. People have been talking shit. People have been racist to me. People have been homophobic to me. People have been just mean, evil to me since the day I was born. So that stuff doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that I have to deal with that and I can't do anything with whatever power or position that I have, right? Big example, big controversy right now on Twitter. Twitch shirts, right?
Oh,
Twitch shirts. One, why are they so hard to get? It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me, right? Even when I was doing my campaign for Twitch shirts,
Kinda
hashtag,
pointless.
these are just shirts. You should get shirts, but they just don't for some reason. He's an amazing dude. I love him to death. He made that amazing video to ask for Twitch shirts, and I saw that. Amazing. How nuts is that? And then the rest of the community sees that and they're like, yo, if he's not getting it, how the hell am I gonna get it? Right? This month project for me video in order to get a freaking Twitch shirt for Dead by Daylight. Here I watch all these streamers. I know so many of you, and I can make such good recommendations for stuff like that, but they don't ask for that and they don't take that. And I don't know. I don't get.
I don't know why people care so much.
Right? When I see when I see people that I know in the space that are making tweets about getting the Twitch shirts, I'm always over there. Like, no, and the game is as popular as it is, and like is able to keep going. If it wasn't for content creators making like detailed how to loot videos, counter videos, perk videos, add-on videos, or just videos about showing the fun in Dead by Daylight, people wouldn't be picking this stuff up. People wouldn't be here playing this game. There's so many things in this game that are not even told to you.
Ironically, they keep talking about this, but I think the first streamers will have had the most influence over this stuff because it was a very small, unknown game. So, you know, I was one of the first. There was like some others who were some of the first. I get like zero respect, but they all talk about how these streamers have helped the game. They've helped the game. But like, dude, where's my respect then? Because I've probably helped the game more than most.
That
I get like negative
you know?
respect.
An example, even though this is not in the game anymore, which we'll get to that.
Like
soon.
if what these guys are saying is true, this game might not even fucking exist without me and like these other like orgy streamers. So where the fuck's the respect?
The flashlight interactions back in the day, right, with hack traps, with like killer burn and stuff like that. That wasn't stuff that was in the game that they told you, right? You had to like see someone do it, a friend had to tell you, or you saw a content creator do it, and you're like, yo, what's that? You know what I mean? So the game is like not an intuitive game that you could just pick up and play. Content creators are doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get people to play this game.
Yeah, I got
and
your
to stay in
respect,
this
and I appreciate it,
game, in
guys.
my
I'm just
opinion.
saying in general,
And I feel
overall.
like they should get rewarded.
I get
for
a lot
it.
of
Like I
disrespect.
said, if you're good person
And it's all
or a
through just
decent person,
lies.
if you're not
It's so
problematic,
annoying.
and you make content that's like fun and interactive or informative, you should get a shirt. Like,
Fuck me.
this whatsoever. And I'm not agreeing with the
Fucking
direction
shirts.
that behavior is decided
Why is this 2 times in a row I've watched this? Not this, but you know, this and that other one, and they get proper in depth with the shirts things.
to go with.
Like, it's such a big thing to a
Right.
lot of
And I
people.
want to say this first: them going
must
in the
be.
direction they're making this game more competitive and quote unquote sweaty is not a problem. Okay, we community are playing a PvP game. That is a player versus player game, and people play these kind of games to win.
Yep,
Right.
they do.
So there's no reason for us to
That's why fucking Survivor Rulebook came from, right? Because they want to win. Don't do this, don't do that, so we
get
win.
an uproar about people wanting to play to win, because that doesn't make any sense.
No,
I think a big
doesn't.
thing in the community, the DBD community needs to do is get out of this mindset of DBD as a party game. It is
Makes no
no
sense.
longer that. Okay, it might have started off that way and it was great, it was fun, and I missed
I would say in its current iteration, it's the most competitive, sweaty version it's ever been. Was it ever like a party game though? I still think that's just a strange term for this game. It's not something you bring out on a party. It's too weird. That you need multiple consoles, then you need to go into a kill your friends. Would they even kill your friends at the start? I can't remember. Probably not. Like, it doesn't fit the criteria of party game. I think they need to change it to something else, like what it used to be. It used to be, I don't know.
it dearly.
It just
'cause
it
that's
just
how I
sounds
build
so
my
weird.
content, but that is not what the game is anymore. So we gotta let go, baby. Gotta let that go.
Monopoly or something.
But
Yeah, it's just
if
weird.
they want to go in this direction of making DBD competitive and stuff like that, there's so many things that we have been asking and suggesting to change or to be implemented, and
there's
it's
so
never
much
going to
what
be.
needs
And it
happening.
honestly really sucks,
Yeah.
right? For things that I think is simple. I don't know. I'm not a freaking coder or game designer, so maybe it's not that simple.
Yeah.
But things like wanting to be able to see loadouts before we go into a lobby, or
But you're pushing solo to Swift level. It's like a mess. Swift will always be stronger, but you want to be pushing Swift lower. He won't say any. If he's talking about like making the game more competitive, viable, and everything, but I bet he don't mention any debuff to Swift because it's taboo to talk about that.
right, to avoid the lobby dodging depending on the build, seeing loadouts in game. Right, you press tab, open up the menu, you get to see people's builds. This is mostly for solo queue, because with solo queue, if I could see that someone's running head on or whatever, I could I could calculate things a lot better than me just guessing, right? Or people having to guess like what I'm trying to
Putting solo to Swift is not a good idea. I keep saying this.
do. But they already kind of said in a Reddit that that's not happening.
Solo's the closest to balance the game has.
I think Ostlarva tweeted about that a little while ago. Or for something more serious, like the MMR. We all know about that famous time when the MMR came out, and we were talking about why is it set up the way it is. Because if you don't know, MMR right now for survivors, you only gain MMR if you escape. Doesn't matter how you got there. You could have looped the house down. Okay, you could have been the reason why your teammates, why your team just escaped 3-man. Okay, but
overall, through probability, if you are that good and you're that consistent, you will escape more than someone who isn't. That's what they're going off. It's not about it's the balance of the game, what they need. Like when they want to look at the data and to balance the game, they can't be basing it off kills and escapes. They could potentially do the MMR off it, right? But the balance, the way they balance the game, they need to be doing that off something more than just kills and escapes. It's not enough information to gather.
You are the one that dies at the end because the killer downed you at the end with no ed, and they're camping you, and everyone.
But that's to make it easier for them. It probably would be best doing everything over, kind of more factors. You'd have to kind of think about it, but the devs need to be like, okay, we're going to listen. We want to change how MMR is calculated. What should we look at? And then that's when we should be like,
by the way,
thinking more about exactly
punished.
what it should be.
The game doesn't think that you did good. The game doesn't care about how you got there. The game is just like, oh, you died? Okay, not bad, baby. You got to play with some newer people. Okay. Or in a killer side.
But you go against a weaker killer. That's what I mean. Like, if you're playing really good, but you die, you lower your MMR, your next match will begin going against a weaker killer, right? And then you should be able to beat them way easier and then do like that kind of thing. I think a big issue with the MMR is it isn't linked to anything and it doesn't show it like linked to ranks and stuff like that. But that goes on to the thing where the devs, they've only created MMR because they want to push the best players away from the casual players, right? They want to push them away, and then they want to tell the casual players, you're as good as them. You're as good as them. Like, they always just like shit stirring, aren't they? First, they're giving, like, you know, the analogy of they're giving one side of people sticks to hit the other people with, which is the tunnel camping. And then they're saying to the other people, wow, they shouldn't do that. And then giving them padding and being like, wow, they're just assholes. Now they're doing that, what I just said.
Instead of like rewarding people for
They're
like
just analogies,
doing good gen
they're just
pressure,
stirring shit.
having
Stirring
short chases,
constantly.
rewarding people for using your power well.
Now they're like, oh, you're as good as them, even though you're not. You're as good as them now.
To get kill equal win.
Stirring.
More prevalent, in my opinion, it is. Okay, playing this game as much as I have been, tunneling is way more prevalent. It's always been in the game, and it's always been something that's never going to go away ever. But it definitely is way more prevalent because people are playing to win, and the win conditions
Kills.
are get kill, MMR up, don't get kill, MMR down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why, you know, you want to be moving towards the hooks, because it is a healthier playstyle. But as MMR can work with, you know, kills and escapes, it can work the way the devs have done it. I understand why they were thinking that way. It's more simplified, but the hooks and everything is way better designed.
Right. So if you are a good killer, and you just had that one awesome game, everyone is on death hook. It's down to this one chase. You're about to get a kill. Survivors pop that gen adrenaline. They run. The door's already open because they have wake up, and they all left. Even though that was such a good game.
Yeah, eight hooks. It'll be classed as you doing the worst possible thing. That you've had the worst match you can possibly have. But then you've got the complete opposite of this, where you get you get one hook after 5 gens are completed, but then they throw it right at the end and you get 3 kills. And now the game's like, wow, you overperformed. That's 75% kill rate. That's higher than normal average kill rate. Wow, you know.
So that's
just bad data.
12 hook game is like the best kind of game in my opinion. But even though that game was so close, the game is like, nah, I don't think so. You didn't get a single kill. You saw that over there? It doesn't say no kills. That means you go down in MMR, right? Which means you versus newer survivors, which is less fun. Because if you're a killer that's able to 12 hook games, you are a lot.
And people
better.
abuse this, as you were saying. Like, there's people who stream and they purposely don't escape, so they lower their MMR, and they purposely don't get the more than 2 kills, so they lower their MMR. So they're going against bad players without having to create Smurf accounts. You said that today. You're right.
And a lot of people, in my opinion, that tunnel at 5 or 4 gens for the kills, right, to make it easier. Not blaming people for playing like that. Like, that is the way to play now because that's what they're pushing for. But I just think it gets rid of skill expression, which is like the big thing, is that there is no skill expression anymore.
It's getting low.
It's run, calm, spirit, distortion, urban evasion with a commodious toolbox and brand new part. And
you don't need gen speed up. I don't know what this thing is with people think you need gen speed up. The strongest stuff is insta heals, flashlights. They're way stronger than brand new parts, toolboxes. You don't need it. The gens go super quick. 2 survivors on a gen completes it in like 40 something seconds. That's super quick.
I don't know, a 4th perk, whatever you throw in there. Do those gens fast, baby. Don't get caught and leave. That's how you win.
You could add 1 perk like resilience or something, so you being injured actually benefits you on gens for some reason.
Okay. And then for killer, because survivors are bringing stealth builds with gen builds on it, right? So like deja vu, hyper focus, and all that stuff. So gens are being pumped out. And then for killer, they have to just
again, it's base gen speed. You don't need to bring these perks.
Run slowdowns. Don't play weak killers now. Don't play that M1 killer that doesn't have good anti-loop or a good power. You know, gotta
I do.
stick with the blights, gotta stick with the pyramid heads, gotta
But
stick
yeah,
with
a
the
lot
huntress, gotta stick with the nurse, gotta yada yada. Otherwise you just lose. And you run full gen slowdown.
Yeah, you can still win. But it's fucking sweaty as shit and people don't want to do that.
You go for a tunnel out at 504 generators.
And you do need meta.
And then boom, you win the game. Like, it's what they're pushing for, and that's why the community is doing it. And
maybe it'll be a draw most of the time because, you know, thrilling.
can't fault people for that, right? You can't fault people for playing that way. For both sides. Is it annoying? Yeah. Do I sit and stream and bitch about it? Yeah, of course I do.
What? I thought I was the only one who bitched. The fuck? Lies. Aren't I the only one?
But you can't blame the
I know
people
it's
for
bullshit.
doing that.
Literally
'cause
every
that's
streamer
in
who
the
plays this game bitches
and
at one
that's
point.
what the devs want to happen. You know what I mean? And you can't blame people for using the tools that they have in order to win at a PvP game. I just wish they would really address those situations instead of just like ignoring it, you know? Change how the MMR system works, man. The MM system, as flawed as it was, would have been a 10 times better indicator for skill, in my opinion, than what we have now. They
Wait,
just
what?
keep getting
Or
rid
the
of indicator
emblem.
for skill,
Yeah.
in my opinion, than what we have.
And the emblem system were a mess, but it is better than what it is now. A revamped emblem system would be a good idea. But I said the idea of the suffer mechanic, right?
Now they just keep getting rid of things that for me is like awesome skill expression. It shows how much time and effort you put into a certain killer, or just playing survivor. You know, there's certain things that shouldn't be made easier, because those are things that like only the top of the people can like play like this, you know. For example, Trickster getting that changed, which was like a big buff for Trickster. But people who are playing Trickster and we're maining them and we're doing amazing, all of a sudden it come back to like, oh, there's no more recoil. He's a normal movement speed killer, so I don't really have to rely on my knives anymore. Okay, it's just
He's wrong with this. Trickster needed that for map pressure, man. You need some kind of movement for map pressure.
easier now. And then
I won't say Trickster with a skill expression killer, personally.
you have Blight, where they get rid of like HUD
Blight,
tech.
yes.
Now like we're not gonna see any Blights anymore, because the cool and fun thing
You will see blights.
about Blight was learning how to hug tech and learning how to moonwalk hug tech and all that stuff. Can't do it anymore, right?
Yes, catcher mechanic.
And then for survivors, even though like this is something that like people disagree or agree with, but making flash
A lot of things with
it saves easier.
Yeah, stupid. And they wanted to do this for ages. Like I remember the PTB where they had it where there were no timing on the flashlight, and people were like, "What the fuck is this behavior?" And they still put it through, and then people still were like, "What the fuck is this?" And after a week later, they got rid of it. They always wanted to do this, and they finally got their way.
Took away such a skill expression, because now everybody is deadly with a freaking flashlight and background player.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
matter
not
who
impressive
they
at all.
are, right? You could easily get that
As
stuff
long
done.
as your
But
position
before, you
is
actually had to be decent. Like for me,
Yeah.
it took me like 2,000 hours before I even got my first
Fucking hell.
flashlight save, but now everyone can just do it all willy-nilly. It's just they just keep removing things
It's
that
never
make
that
the
long.
game fun and expressive, and it's scary, because I feel the
But it did have
more
some skill
time
to
that
it.
passes,
It was about
more killers and more
like
changes.
it's gone from about a 5 frame, 10 at most, to like a 60. Like it's that drastic.
That happen that makes the game just like more linear.
ridiculous.
You know. Next thing I know, freaking Deathslinger is gonna be like 115 movement speed killer.
Well, Deathslinger, this is my idea. When he has shot and he needs to reload, he moves at 115%. When he reloads and can shoot again, it goes back to 110. It helps out with his map pressure. I think that would actually be a really good change, because it'd help his map pressure.
With that, I don't know, like can't shoot through walls anymore, but you're faster, right? So the thing I love about Deathslinger, which is shooting people through walls, might be gone soon. How am I supposed to know?
No, I don't think
I
so.
dedicated the last
Maybe
6,000
though,
hours
yeah.
of my life to like learning this and doing this, but all of a sudden it might be gone. And then there's the complete opposite of all this, where they add perks like background player for the people buckle up.
Yeah, that's mad.
The friggin' gen kick meta, or when the
Gen kick
boon
meta.
circle of healing meta was a thing. Like they want to push the game to be competitive, and then they're like, oh, by the way, here are some perks that are ridiculous.
Gen kick meta, if they're on about where you're kicking gens a lot in staying like kind of the regen, that was kind of like a byproduct of how bad the gen speed to the killer's objective is. It always comes back to that.
Ridiculously busted, and we will take 8 to 9 months before we address any
Because they had
of
to
that,
kick
you know?
so many
Like, for the
times,
people buckle up and
and
sell
it still
things
won't do
is
anything.
released, right? The gen kick meta was there for like 6 months, something like that. The healing meta with circle of
Eruption Call of
was there
Brine.
for like 6 months.
Okay.
All those things that almost caused a lot
Yeah,
of people,
Eruption
me
need
included,
looking
to, like,
into.
completely quit the game right
I
then
think we
and
said
there.
an idea for Eruption. I think regressing gens is not a bad thing, but making it so the survivors can't get back on the gen if they, wanted to, is like getting regression on gens. I think is fine. I think more perks should have that instead of whatever they have. But blocking the gens so survivors can't get on them, I think, is an issue, because it's mean that the survivors just have to stand around doing nothing, which is
Fair.
weird.
Just
Maybe they need
coming
more
out and not
objectives.
getting addressed for so long, or when bugs are happening, like when what was it called? The Merciless Storm was causing gens to regress all the way down to 0. Like it took so long for them to be like kill switch and change. It's just like it's just one extreme from the other, and it's just so hard because people come into my streams and they're like, "Yo, Dro, when is this gonna get fixed? Are they gonna do something about it?
Talking
Like,
as
what's
if he's like a
happening?
dev.
And I have to be there, sit there, and look at them. Not look at them, obviously in my chat, but I have to sit there and be like, I'm so sorry. I know the exact amount of information that you do. I don't know a single bit more than you do, and that's just kind of like sucks, and it's kind of weird, you know? It's just like, just the direction and the things that they do just doesn't make any sense to me, and it makes me question how much longer will this game last before it just goes away, you know? So me thinking, I'm like, maybe me doing this sooner than later, pulling off that band-aid is the good thing to do. And then lastly, dude, I could rant about this stuff like all day. But the big last thing that is pushing me away from being a fog whisperer and from honestly continuing DBD in general is the community at large. For the majority of y'all are great, and I love you guys. Like, you guys are phenomenal. But I don't know what's happened, but there's just been a big, huge shift on how the community like behaves and how they're acting, you know? Now I can't open Twitter without having like 12 videos of someone calling out a streamer for being an awful person when all
Because there's motive. They've seen that people have started doing that and they get big from it, so they do it themselves. It's either to get bigger, it's because circles of like just very disgusting people have found each other, and that's just how they work. But it's motive. There's different motives. There's motives of growth. There's motive of satisfaction. You know, some people are sadistic. They like the feeling, right? But yeah,
all the streamer said was "fuck you,"
yeah,
or "what a bitch," you know, like.
But you can grow your content from doing that, and people see that.
Basic shit talking, but people are being called out and canceled for that. Or people just like rage baiting constantly on Twitter because that gets traction and likes and retweets and
People say that I rage bait. It's complete bullshit. Just because I don't fucking like say the exact same thing everyone else says, just because I'm not just some fucking like drone that just follows the masses, don't mean I'm rage baiting. If you actually listen and look at what I'm saying, you can understand that. But a lot of people can't understand that because a lot of people are rage baiting, and they can't see the difference between someone actually asking things and someone not. Like it's fucking annoying when people say like it's rage bait. It's like, just fucking read what I'm saying.
Shares blah 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 blah, or people just being like totally mean about other people's opinions, you know? Like I could sit there and be
like me. You won't mention me though.
Like, hey, Skull Merchant's cool, and all of a sudden people are like harass them for the next 5 months. It's nuts. And
2-3 years.
It's like us versus them mentality too. It's absolutely bonkers. I know it's been there since the beginning of time, but god damn it, bro. How many times we gotta talk about the same goddamn thing? Oh my god. Do you think tunneling is bad or good? Do you think gen rushing is bad or good? Do you think blah blah blah? It's just over and over and over again. And we just keep fighting with ourselves, bro. Keep fighting.
What do you think about filters?
Goddamn echo chamber.
Dude, what do you think about filters?
Chamber
every day.
Nothing fucking changes, like ever. You know what I mean? Yes, tunneling is boring to deal with. Yes, camping fucking sucks. Yes, no, it could be strong sometimes. Yes, hyper focus builds suck. Yes, that hard is strong. Blah 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 blah. But like, we just keep fighting with each other constantly, expecting change when it's not happening.
It's not going to change without intelligent minds.
We just keep wanting to like have something to argue about instead of just like trying to come together and trying to find solutions for something, which honestly doesn't.
Personally, the devs are the one with all the puppet strings anyway. So we don't have any control of it anyway.
Really matter, because even if we,
I think you finished this here because you're talking about what
you know
what I mean.
It's just like we're constantly at each other's throats fighting about things that don't matter, because the people that control those situations aren't gonna fucking change it anyways. So like, who cares? So what's in store for my content going forward?
Oh, good luck to him with that. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, interesting. What can I say? I mean, I said everything I need to say. Usually I do through the reacts. But there you go. That was Hidro leaving Fog Whisperer and maybe DVD. See if he comes back. All right.